What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So a lot of people have been asking for those additional stimulus checks. Where are they? Are we ever going to see any relief for students? For example, student loan forgiveness. And are we going to see additional benefits and boost to people on Social Security? Well, I want to answer those questions and give you the truth as to what is actually happening. First, are stimulus checks even being considered? The answer is yes, they are being considered. They are being pushed by many lawmakers. But what you need to keep in mind as of right now is that some lawmakers that are pushing the fourth stimulus check, they don't have that much pull. Just because there's a group of roughly 100 lawmakers that are pushing for an additional stimulus check. Some of the main lawmakers are Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Okay, we also got Senator Bernie Sanders. Those are kind of the main two that are pushing for additional stimulus checks. We also have Senator Elizabeth Warren, who would like to see an additional stimulus check as well. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, what we know is that current Vice President Kamala Harris, she was one of the original legislators that pushed for additional stimulus checks and monthly recurring stimulus checks. However, at this time, according to reports, they are saying that right now, Vice President Kamala Harris doesn't actually have that much pull in the current administration, which is weird being she is the vice president. However, right now, the majority of the pretty much the plans, the agenda is going through President Biden and going through Senator Schumer. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, is trying to get a little bit more involved. However, at this time, the main fight is with President Biden. President Biden has his idea. This is his agenda. He wants to get it passed. And then we got Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who says, well, I'm trying to get this passed, but here's the issue. We can't get it passed because in the Senate, obviously, President Biden knows this because he used to be a senator for many years. He knows the rules, and the rules are different in the Senate. So because of that, there's different rules that they have to play by. And because of that, this is where Senator Schumer has a little bit more pull than somebody like Speaker Pelosi. So just keep in mind, as of right now, there are discussions on that fourth stimulus check. The problem is most experts are predicting if we see the stimulus check, and yes, I did say if we see a fourth stimulus check, it would most likely not happen until possibly September or most likely October. Now, one thing I just want to say is that the recurring stimulus checks, the monthly stimulus checks, that's the big question is, will we see monthly stimulus checks? The answer to that question, honestly, is it's possible. I'm not going to say no, it's never going to happen. I'm not going to say yes, it will for sure happen. In my honest opinion, I think there's maybe a 10% chance that a recurring monthly stimulus check happens and about a 90% chance that it doesn't. Okay, so I'm not saying that no, it's never going to happen. I'm just wanting to be more realistic and let you know what would most likely happen. And that is a monthly stimulus check is just seen as too expensive. So moderates in the Senate like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are never going to go for this. So until, and again, I don't want to be a naysayer for Republicans, but or even Democrats, but let's just say Democrats somehow, I don't even know if it's possible in 2022, but let's just say Democrats just do extremely well and they win multiple seats. Let's say they win 15 seats in the Senate. And I don't even know how many seats will be up for grabs in the Senate for the midterm elections in 2022. But just keep in mind that let's say Democrats win an additional 15 seats. And Democrats would then have 65 seats in the Senate versus 35 for Republicans. If this were the case, Democrats would have the overwhelming majority. They could pass just about anything as long as they had the majority of their caucus, the 65 senators, Democratic senators, as long as they had at least 60 of them to vote in support of the bill, for example, a recurring stimulus check, then it would pass. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not saying it's for sure never going to happen. I'm just trying to be more optimistic and try to give you an idea of what is actually going to happen over the next year or so. Now, let's address one other thing. Right now, there's about 50 representatives in the House that do support a $2,000 per month stimulus check. So let's break this down, because as of right, and there's about 20 senators, I believe. I think there's anywhere between 15 and 20 senators at this time that are highly motivated to see a monthly recurring stimulus check. However, it's not stated at $2,000. And they're saying a monthly stimulus check, which is actually, okay, again, if we break this down, the child tax credit payments are considered a monthly stimulus check. So right there, could we see this happen? Possibly. Could we see, that the Senate is going to push for a recurring stimulus check? Yes, but is it going to be those stimulus checks, or is it going to go to only people with children? Only people that are out of work? Is it going to go to people that only go back to work? There's so many questions and variables here that's the real issue. And one other thing, when it comes to stimulus checks and that forced stimulus check and when we're going to see it, what we know is that according to experts and even lawmakers, and this is kind of how the experts are getting their information, is doing exactly what I do, and I provide you these updates, but I go and read, not only the articles from other mainstream media, CNN, Bloomberg, the Washington Post, things like that, but I also go and read the different tweets from lawmakers. Go and I watch the interviews. So even though you may watch a 15-20 minute video from me, in order for me to do that 15 to 20 minute video, I would have to do 2 to 3 hours of research. It's just hardcore research. So when I post a video, some days when I post at 8 or 9 in the morning, I have to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning just to be able to put out that video, because that's how I go and do my research. I go and dig deep into the internet to make sure that I'm understanding the whole picture, not just what CNN has to say, not just what Bloomberg has to say. So what I can tell you, and this is exactly what experts would say as well, is that there's still a chance of seeing a stimulus check, but we would have to see the economy would need to struggle. And honestly, I don't want to see the economy struggle, but at the same time, the economy is struggling because there's so many American people, so many families. You may be one of them. I don't know. I'm hoping you're not. But there's so many families struggling right now, and it's because they don't have the income. They do not have that next payment. They don't know where their next paycheck's going to come from, where they can actually put food on the table. And on top of everything, and this is exactly what many experts are saying, is that when we see the unemployment benefits lapse or expire for roughly 4 million people in those 23 states, okay, which a lot of these are going to happen in June. A lot of these are going to happen starting June 12th, go all the way up till the end of June. Some even go into the first week of July. So yeah, happy 4th of July, you lost your unemployment. Yeah, that's great. But a lot of experts are saying this is going to be one of those catalysts. We're going to see roughly 4 million people lose their unemployment benefits, have absolutely no income. And when they have absolutely no income and their back's against the wall, are they going to be able to find any employment at that time? Some are saying no. Some are saying no, that chances are all these people in these specific states, these 23 states, if every single person is required to go back to work and get a job, right? They'll lose their benefits just entirely. And all these people are fighting for the exact same jobs. What's going to happen? Well, they're not going to all get those jobs. There's going to be probably 5 to 6 people for every single available job. And if that's the case, you can't hire 6 people for one job. It doesn't work like that. You take people off unemployment and you go, oh, I'll hire 3 people for this job and I'll just give them 15 to 20 hours per week. Okay, great. Now those people lost unemployment benefits, can't get anything else, and now are getting only paid 15 hours of whatever wage that you agreed on. So this is what some are saying, is that this is one of the reasons why an additional stimulus check is not only needed, okay, but it should be required for all 23 of those states. And again, this is speculation by a lot of people in the media, and I don't want to, push this, but I just want to say and warn you guys, this is what's the speculation right now, and there's some rumors behind it and some talks, but there's not a lot. Some are saying, well, if the United States government cannot force these 23 Republican states to continue to pay that federal unemployment benefit, that $300 per week, even for people on PUA, that's the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, and long-term unemployment, if the federal government can't step in and do something about that, like make the state and require them to pay it, Well, couldn't the federal government just say, well, every single resident of this state, every single resident of Florida is going to get a stimulus check of X amount of dollars? Couldn't they do that? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. That can be done. And again, that's where the speculation's coming from. That if the government can't do anything, they can, and they could, they will possibly provide a stimulus check to those in those specific states. Now, again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. And again, I want to warn you 100%, that is the speculation. That is what some are saying. Could it happen? Yes. Is it going to happen? Honestly, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. One other thing I want to address right now is that the White House is putting the pressure on Congress. And Congress is putting the pressure back on the White House. Now, why do they do that? They just do that to buy time. That's all the reason. That's the only reason they do it. Just to buy time, put the pressure on the other party. Because President Biden has a lot of pressure on him right now, obviously, as a president. He always does. So he puts the pressure over on Congress. And then Congress, being the great friends that they are to President Biden, they're like, yeah, you know what? No, we're just going to say, if President Biden wants it, we will pass it. Well, so they put the pressure right back on President Biden, and it just goes back and forth. What I can tell you is, again, they're just trying to buy time for a couple of different reasons. One, the American people will forget. Number two, it's going to be, so long, and we went through this last year as well, and possibly we're going to go through it again. It's going to be so long between stimulus checks that the American people will not just forget, but be like, oh, well, $1,000 now is not going to help me. I'm so far behind. Screw it, right? And the third reason why Congress and the White House or the Biden administration are just, trying to delay this is because maybe things will get better, and they'll get so much better that we wouldn't need a stimulus check, right? It's possible. But what experts say is that it's going to take anywhere between 3 to 5 years for the average American to get back on their feet. 3 to 5 years. That's insane. That is insane, being that we just went through a pandemic that lasted about a year. We're still going through it. But my guess is, according to reports, we're going to be in this for probably all of 2021. So we're going to be in this pandemic for anywhere from 18 to 24 months. But what some are saying is that it's going to take so long for the average American to get back on their feet unless they see additional stimulus. But then the problem there is if we see additional stimulus and it goes out to the majority of Americans that received the $1,400 checks, which actually came out to about $391 or $92 billion. Some are saying if we see an additional package like that, that would send the United States into hyperinflation. And that is not what we want to see, because that will actually hurt many average Americans, because right now prices are insane. I wanted to build something the other day. I just wanted to go buy, I think I wanted to go buy like 10 2x4s, 10 8-foot sticks. And it was like $8-9 for a stick, for 8-foot piece of a 2x4. And so again, wood is expensive. I remember years ago when it was like $2-3. So it's expensive now. That's just one thing. Food's more expensive. Gas is more expensive. Utilities, more expensive. Home prices, obviously more expensive. Clothing, it's actually a little bit cheaper because a lot of people aren't buying clothing. So it's like, well, I'm always inside. Why do I need new clothes? Nobody sees me from the waist down. Honestly, nobody sees me from the waist down unless I go outside. You never see me from the waist down on a video. Yes, I am wearing pants, but nobody ever sees me. So it's like, well, why should I buy new shorts, new pants, new shoes when I could pretty much walk around with no shoes on? Nobody would ever care and nobody would even notice. And this is what a lot of Americans are thinking. Let me know if you thought this as well, is why I'm on a Zoom call, why I'm doing work remotely from home. Why should I invest in a new pair of pants? Why would I just wear my pajamas all day and walk around in, slippers, right? Do you guys do that? If you guys are working remotely, hopefully you guys are working, but if you're working remotely or have been in the past or even with school, did you even care what you're wearing from the waist down? Most people don't. And that's one of the reasons why clothing is actually going down. But again, all this stuff, stimulus checks, it hinges on so many different things. And this is where things get so complicated and complex is, well, how do we decide whether or not it's time for a stimulus check, how much the stimulus check should be, and should we go after a bipartisan stimulus package or just do it more partisan where we don't care if Republicans vote on it or not? What I can tell you is right now there's a lot of discussions on this. But the issue is the stimulus package and the stimulus checks kind of revolve around what happens with infrastructure. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I did a video a little bit on infrastructure this morning. So make sure you go and check that out as well. But as I know more, I promise I'll share more. I just want to kind of, give you guys a little bit more insight and explain the truth as to what is really happening. Because honestly, right now, there's so many different ideas, agendas, plans, and talks about what could potentially happen. Honestly, nobody knows. Even President Biden does not know if another stimulus check is going to happen. Congress doesn't know. The American people don't know. I can tell you right now, I do not know if an additional stimulus check is going to happen. I can just report the facts, the data, and give you guys the updates as we get them. So again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Have an incredible Memorial Day as well. If you can, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to stay updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.